Alright there guys, and welcome back to another video. And just like around this time last year, we are back talking about Love is War. This time we're going to be covering season 3.5, aka The First Kiss That Never Ends, which released at the end of last year as a movie, but has been released as a 4-episode mini arc since then, and that's what I've watched. I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen the 4-episode mini arc. So this mini arc is centered all around Christmas. It takes place across December's 20th through to Christmas Eve. So let's get straight into it. It begins with Kaguya still in the very much out of it state that she was in when talking to Hayasaka after kissing Shirogane for the first time, where she's not thinking straight. She's very much high on happiness. That's the best way to describe it. And when she's in that state, it gets to a point where she comes into school the next day and she turns into a chibi version of herself. A very small, if you guys know what a chibi is, don't you? It's basically a character, but in like a really, really small and cutesy, like childlike form. So Kaguya walks in and she is in that form, which Shirogane, Ishigami, and Chika are all quite confused. Well, Chika's not so much confused, the other two are. Chika explains to Ishigami and Shirogane that certain factors need to be put into place to get this very rare form of Kaguya. Being sleep deprived is one of them, and love has something to do with it as well. And she even starts acting like a child. When she says president, she doesn't say it normally, she says president. Instead of PR for president, it's PW. But Shirogane wants to talk to Kaguya about the kiss they shared at the top of the school bell, at the top of the bell, at the very end of season 3. But unfortunately for Shirogane, Kaguya is not going to give him a straight answer in this state. So instead, he decides, well, the only way I'm going to get anything out of this is to stoop down to her level. And Shirogane turns into a chibi version of himself and starts talking to Kaguya in the same type of way that she's been talking to them the whole time. But the thing that makes this scene really funny is when Ino walks in. Because if you remember, in season 2 of the show, when Ino first joined the student council, every time she walked in, something weird was going on, and she got the wrong idea. Well, they decided, let's have one more of those. So she walks in, and Shirogane and Kaguya look normal again, but they're just spouting gibberish. To each other, they look like the chibi version of themselves, but to Ino, they just look like their normal selves, spouting gibberish. So she ends up running away. And the only other notable thing that happens in the episode is Tsubame invites Ishigami to a Christmas party. He's thinking, oh, I am so in here. And then she invites Ino as well to realise she's not just inviting Ishigami, she's actually inviting everyone from the cheerleading squad. Which disappoints Ishigami a little bit, but he's still happy that Tsubame invited him. So when Chika asks the student council for a Christmas party at her house, Shirogane says yes, and Kaguya says yes. Ishigami very smugly says, "I've got plans," which upsets Chika. The next episode, Kaguya couldn't be acting more different towards Shirogane than she was in the first episode. She pulls a total 180 here, and she acts really cold towards him. But that's her way of hiding what she really wants from him. What she wants is she wants Shirogane to kiss her again. That's what she wants. But she's acting very uptight towards him. And she tries to come up with ways to make him realise what she wants. So when the two of them are walking home from school, Kaguya keeps going on and on and on about how cold it is. And how her hands are basically frozen. What she's doing is she's basically saying, out loud she's saying, "Oh, my hands are so cold that I feel like they're going to fall off." In her head, she's saying, "For the love of God, Shirogane, take the damn hint and grab my hands." That's what she's saying. But he doesn't pick up on that. So she ends up getting a taxi home instead. And then only then does he realise what she actually wanted him to do. While all this is going on, the multiple Kaguyas inside of her head that argue with each other like a jury, if you remember those scenes, where there's different versions of Kaguya arguing with each other. We get to see a little bit more of that. And how they keep... The chibi version of her tells her that it doesn't really matter which one of them takes the initiative, because they're all the same person. They're all Kaguya. And that's what the second episode mostly focuses on. Shirogane just not taking the hint. The third episode starts off quite similar to the second one, with Kaguya still acting cold towards Shirogane, but she's giving him more hints to what she wants. She ends up making Chika and Ino both run out of the student council room because Shirogane has been very sleep deprived recently, and he opens up his bento lunch, and Kaguya definitely wants a little piece of that. So she starts going on about how hungry she is, and that the chef at her house is out of town. Basically trying to tell Shirogane, "I want some of that. Can I have some of that, please?" And this is how she makes Chika and Ino run out of the student council room. She basically calls Chika fat, and that's what makes Chika run away. And she makes Ino think that Ino's guilt tripped herself into eating her lunch and not sharing it with Kaguya. Which is what makes her run out of the shoot council room as well. So now it's just Shirogane and Kaguya on their own, because Ishigami goes after the other two to go see if they're all right. So Shirogane gives Kaguya a little bit of his food and some ketchup ends up splattering onto Kaguya's face. Shirogane tells her about it and she says, "Could you get it off, wipe it off please?" But she also then grabs Shirogane's hands so he can't get it off with his hands. Instead, she's basically telling him, I've got your hands. Take a wild guess what I want you to get the ketchup off my face with. But he doesn't. He can't pull himself to do it, and instead he actually ends up fainting. And when he finally wakes up, the doctor there tells him that he's suffering from being lovesick. Now you might remember in season 2 of Love is War, Kaguya suffered from the exact same thing, which made her faint. And now Shirogane is suffering from the very same thing. And the doctor that's tending to him just so happens to be the grandfather of Tsubasa. If you've forgotten who that is, that's Miss Kashiwagi's boyfriend. And Miss Kashiwagi spends some of the time giving advice to Kaguya about the whole thing, while Shirogane ends up asking Kaguya's niece, Maki, for some advice. And that leads us to the 4th and final episode of this mini arc. It's the Christmas parties, it's Christmas Eve. So Ishigami and Ino go to Tsubame's party, while Shirogane, Kaguya, and Kei, Shirogane's sister, go to Chika's. And Chika's household celebrates Christmas and New Year at the same time. Shirogane questions why they do that. That makes no sense. And she said, "Well, I thought that at first too," but then doesn't properly explain why. But that's just how Chika is. So Chika writes everyone's name on chopsticks, and whoever's name someone picks out is the present that they receive. They receive a present from that person. Shirogane and Kaguya are hoping to get each other, which they don't. Kaguya ends up getting a present from I'm pretty sure it was Chika. Shirogane ends up getting a present from Moeha, Chika's little sister. Kei ends up getting Kaguya's present. Oh, sorry about that one. But after they've all exchanged presents, Kaguya gives Shirogane another present that she'd picked out specifically for him, and he also did the same thing. But when she says she asks for him to give it to her, he refuses and starts running away from her. And the two of them end up running from Chika's house all the way to a park. Kaguya finally rips off the wrapping paper to see that the present Shirogane got her was a cup and ball. He'd been going on and on to her about how this present is nowhere near good enough for her, and then it ends up actually being true. He also ends up telling her. Well, actually, no, he doesn't tell her. First he tells the doctor from earlier about the social masking he's had to do, and Kaguya also does the same. Tell someone as well. How both of them actually just wanted to impress their parents. So they did things, and they signed up for things that they didn't particularly want to do, but they did it anyway for their parents. And that Shirogane actually had fallen in love with Kaguya even before they'd met. And Shirogane wanted Kaguya to notice him, so beating her in the school exams was the thing that made her finally take notice of him, and made everyone take notice of him before he became student council president. And the two of them start talking to each other about the sides of them that they've not shown each other, and how if they want to be together, they have to show each other the whole of them, not just the parts they want each other to see. And this leads to the moment where Shirogane and Kaguya finally kiss again. And unlike in Season 3, they don't put a balloon over their faces to censor it. We actually get to see it this time, so that's a bit of we're making progress there. And then the two of them go back to Chika's house. Then we skip Christmas Day and Boxing Day. We skip straight to the 27th of December, as Kaguya and Shirogane go on their actual first proper date. And even though Shirogane's wearing his uniform pretty much all the time, whether he's in or out of school, the one time he doesn't wear it out of school is the one time Kaguya does. So the two of them have a nice date together, and Tsubame goes to a fortune teller who just so happens to be Shirogane's dad, which I found hilarious. As she's thinking about what Ishigami has done for her. And that's how it all ends. The First Kiss That Never Ends was just more great content for Love Is War. This show is so damn good. I can't wait for whenever season 4 finally gets it out, because you can't really call this season 4, can you? That's why I've called it season 3.5. But that's going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, catch you later.